The first light of dawn spills across a shallow seagrass meadow, a landscape swaying gently beneath the surface where each blade ripples like a green flame in the ocean's quiet breath. The water is clear and calm, filtered by the golden hues of the waking sun. Tiny bubbles cling to the grass like jewels, and the sound of life, the crackle of distant shrimp, the muted pulse of current, hums faintly in the background. Amid this tranquil expanse, two small figures drift upright, their bodies curved and deliberate. Seahorses. They hover not like fish, but like ornaments suspended in thought, each flick of the dorsal fin a careful adjustment against gravity's invisible pull. What unfolds between them now is not a chase nor a fight, but a dance, an ancient ritual that binds them through motion, color, and patience. Every morning at nearly the same hour, a bonded pair of seahorses meet to reaffirm their connection. The female glides through the forest of grass, her skin flashing pale, then deep bronze as she approaches. The male responds in kind, his own pigments shimmering through an intricate palette of golds and greens. Together they entwine their tails like a handshake, circling one another in a slow, spiraling ballet. This is not simple affection. It is synchronization, a biological rehearsal for what evolution has made extraordinary, male pregnancy. Over several days, these greetings align their reproductive cycles until both are ready for the exchange that defines their partnership. When the moment arrives, the female seahorse presses her ovipositor into a specialized opening on the male's abdomen. Beneath it lies his most remarkable adaptation, the brood pouch, a muscular chamber lined with capillaries, enzymes, and secretions that mirror the wombs of mammals. As she deposits hundreds of unfertilized eggs into this pouch, the male releases sperm, fertilizing them internally. The wall of the pouch seals and begins to thicken, transforming from a simple fold of skin into a complex, vascularized nursery. Within, each embryo becomes encased in its own microenvironment, attached to a placenta-like membrane that supplies oxygen and nutrients. What follows blurs the line between fish and fatherhood. In seahorses, it is the male who gestates, who regulates salinity for his offspring, and who endures the strain of carrying them to term. Inside the brood pouch, oxygen levels are carefully managed by the male's circulatory system. The embryos, tiny translucent replicas of their parents, receive a continuous flow of enriched blood and waste removal through diffusion. Over weeks, the chemistry within the pouch shifts gradually from saline levels, matching the father's blood, to those matching seawater, preparing the young for their abrupt release into the open ocean. This physiological transition, unique in the animal kingdom, spares the newborns the osmotic shock that most fish larvae face. In a sense, the male seahorse acts as both womb and midwife, fine-tuning the conditions of life from conception to delivery. Why would evolution favor such a reversal of reproductive roles? The answer lies in efficiency and survival. In most species, females are limited by the time and energy it takes to produce and protect eggs. But when males assume that burden, females can produce another clutch almost immediately. By dividing parental investment this way, both can maximize reproductive output, giving their genetic lineage an edge in a world where survival is measured by numbers, not nurture. The seahorse's gender role reversal, often described through the lens of parental investment theory, shows how evolution rewards creativity in the face of reproductive constraint. The strategy has persisted for millions of years, proving that the rules of nature bend easily under the weight of survival's demands. As gestation nears its end, the male's pouch swells visibly, distending his slender frame into a rounded silhouette. The strain is immense, oxygen demand spikes, and his heartbeat quickens. He anchors his tail around a blade of grass, stabilizing himself as contractions ripple through his abdomen. One by one, the miniature seahorses begin to emerge, not as eggs or larvae, but as fully formed, independent fish. The pouch flexes, and the ocean fills with motion. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of newborns are expelled in rapid bursts, each only a few millimeters long. The event is over in minutes, a storm of new life scattered into the water column like drifting seeds in a meadow breeze. The newborns waste no time looking back. Their father offers no protection, no postnatal care. His role in this story ends the moment his body stops convulsing. Exhausted but alive, he will rest and recover, perhaps ready to mate again within days. The young, meanwhile, face an unforgiving world. Fewer than 1 in 1,000 will survive their first week. The meadow is a maze of predators, juvenile fish, crabs, even shrimp, all hungry for the next mouthful of protein that drifts too near. The fry must master stealth from the moment they are born, using their prehensile tails to cling to grass stems and their chromatophores to mimic their surroundings. Their elongated snouts allow them to feed on tiny crustaceans, while their upright posture helps them vanish amid the vertical blades of seagrass. Each day they grow stronger, their survival a testament to the evolutionary gamble that produced them. The ecosystem itself benefits from this cycle of abundance and loss. Seagrass meadows, often overlooked compared to coral reefs, are dynamic nurseries that depend on this constant influx of nutrients. The decomposition of those that do not survive nourishes microbial communities, which in turn sustain the invertebrates that form the base of the food web. In this balance, even death feeds life, a truth written into every strand of this underwater forest. The camera drifts upward, catching the male once more. His body is lean again, his breathing steady. He hovers in the filtered sunlight, motionless but for the gentle flick of his fins. Around him, the surviving fry linger briefly before the current pulls them apart, scattering them into the vastness. The male tilts his head slightly, eyes independent yet synchronized enough to track both the horizon and the grass below. Somewhere in the distance, his mate approaches for their next ritual dance. In this small, intricate world, there is no sentimentality, only precision, rhythm, and the quiet continuation of life's most improbable experiment, the father who gives birth. Beneath the silver glow of a half-hidden moon, the ocean shifts into a slow, pulsating rhythm. The light filters down in soft columns, dissolving into the blackness where the deep begins its endless descent. Here, where darkness outweighs day, shadows take on their own choreography. The camera tilts upward through a field of suspended plankton, tiny glowing constellations that drift like stars unanchored. From the distance, a shape materializes, broad, elegant, and silent. A manta ray glides through the dark water, her body tracing an arc of living grace. She is not alone. Behind her, 3, then 5, then 7 other mantas follow in perfect formation, their wings undulating in synchronized waves. This is not a feeding aggregation nor a casual swim. This is a mating train, one of the ocean's most enduring and mesmerizing courtships. The female leads with effortless authority, her pace deliberate but never frantic. The males behind her compete not with violence but with endurance. They follow for hours, sometimes for half a day, shadowing every turn, every rise, and every dive. The display is a marathon of persistence, a test of stamina, reflex, and sensory precision. Each time she veers upward toward the surface, the males mimic her path, their cephalic fins rolled tight like horns of focus. When she banks and somersaults, they spiral too, keeping perfect rhythm in the dance. The contest has no clear beginning or end. It continues until one male proves worthy through sheer determination, staying close enough, long enough, to demonstrate his strength and fitness. In this ritual, the ocean becomes an aerial stage. Every loop, every spiral is a test. The female's motions are deliberate provocations, darting one moment, slowing the next, gauging which suitor maintains both speed and control. The trailing males jockey for position, but aggression is rare. Instead, they compete through precision. The lead male must anticipate her next move, a near-psychic alignment achieved through sensory systems honed by evolution. Mantas possess one of the largest brains among all fish, with an expanded cerebellum and optic lobes that help process movement, spatial awareness, and complex social cues. Their behavior, often described as intelligent or even inquisitive, reveals a species that thinks before it acts, a necessity when life unfolds in 3 dimensions, where gravity holds no boundaries. As the chase intensifies, the group weaves through a vertical column of moonlit plankton. The bioluminescence bursts around them, creating a spectral wake, streaks of blue and green that mark each twist of a fin. The female finally slows, circling back toward the most persistent male. In a single fluid motion, she turns belly up, signaling the end of the trial. The male closes the gap, aligning his body with hers. He gently bites onto the trailing edge of her pectoral fin to anchor himself in the current. In that fleeting moment, they connect, a brief but vital act in the boundless dark. Fertilization occurs internally, a rare trait among rays, secured through the male's modified pelvic claspers that deliver sperm directly into her reproductive tract. It lasts only seconds, and then, just as silently, the two separate. The train disperses into the night, each manta returning to its solitary glide as though nothing extraordinary has happened. But within the female, something remarkable begins. Unlike many fish, manta rays do not lay eggs. They are ovoviviparous, a form of reproduction where the eggs develop inside the mother's body until they hatch, and the pups are born live. The fertilized egg forms a thin-shelled capsule that protects the embryo while it feeds on its own yolk. Later, as the pup grows, the mother's uterus secretes a nutrient-rich fluid, sometimes called uterine milk, that sustains development until birth. This milky substance is absorbed directly through specialized projections on the embryo's spiracle and gills, a physiological bridge between independence and maternal care. It is a strategy born from the tension between risk and reward. Fewer offspring, but each one born large, strong, and ready for the open sea. Manta ray gestation can last up to a year. During this time, the mother continues her migrations, feeding on plankton-rich upwellings across hundreds of kilometers. She must consume vast quantities of microscopic life to sustain herself and her developing young. With a mouth wide as a doorway and gill rakers like sieves, she filters thousands of liters of seawater per hour. The plankton she consumes, copepods, larvae, and krill, form the foundation of the entire marine food web, linking microscopic producers to giants of the sea. The manta, therefore, is not only a graceful traveler, but also a biological bridge between two worlds, the unseen and the immense. When the time for birth arrives, it happens without fanfare. In shallow, warm waters near reefs or lagoons, the mother releases her single pup, sometimes two, each already unfurling its wings to swim. They are miniature replicas of the adults, independent from the moment of birth. The bond between parent and offspring ends as quietly as it began. The mother glides away, her work complete. The newborn disappears into the folds of the ocean, ready to begin its own wandering life. The evolutionary cost of this reproductive strategy is immense. Manta rays reproduce slowly. A female may give birth only once every 2 or 3 years. Such low fecundity makes them exceptionally vulnerable to environmental pressures. In regions where they gather, mantas have become targets for gill raker trade and accidental bycatch. Their long gestation and small litter sizes mean populations cannot rebound quickly from losses. In some parts of the world, localized populations have declined sharply, with their migrations disrupted by fishing, pollution, and rising ocean temperatures that shift plankton blooms out of sync with breeding seasons. Yet their resilience is extraordinary. Mantas are migratory architects of the pelagic realm, moving across ocean basins with an almost mathematical rhythm tied to currents, temperature gradients, and plankton density. Satellite tagging has revealed migrations that span thousands of kilometers, living highways that connect coral reefs, seamounts, and feeding grounds in patterns that repeat with near-perfect consistency year after year. Their navigation is still poorly understood, but likely relies on a combination of geomagnetic cues, temperature mapping, and memory, a living compass refined through evolutionary time. There is also intelligence behind those vast eyes. Observations of mantas interacting with cleaning stations, divers, and even their reflections suggest a level of cognitive awareness unusual in fish. Some researchers have proposed that mantas may possess a degree of self-recognition, a trait once thought to belong only to mammals and a few bird species. Their curiosity, evident in slow, circling passes around unfamiliar objects, hints at a creature not just surviving, but exploring its world with intention. The camera lingers on the same female as she drifts through the black water once more. Her massive body glows faintly in the blue shimmer of plankton light. Tiny fish dart beneath her for protection, and remoras cling to her underside, feeding on parasites. Around her, the vast ocean hums with microscopic life, diatoms, larval crustaceans, jellyfish medusae, each performing its own nightly migration toward the light above. She glides among them like a silent ship through the stars, her wingtips slicing the water into ribbons of glowing dust. For all her elegance, the manta ray is a fragile survivor of a fragile system. Her lineage stretches back millions of years, to when the world's oceans were warmer and shallower. Yet her fate now hinges on the choices of a single species, our own. Every night she dances the same ritual. Every year she births the next generation with the same patience and precision. Evolution has given her grace, intelligence, and endurance, but no defense against human ambition. The midnight train continues, a procession of beauty and purpose, reminding us that even in the ocean's darkest corners, life never stops reaching forward, endlessly adapting, endlessly alive. In the dim corridors of the ocean's twilight zone, where the last traces of sunlight melt into blue haze, a creature moves with a kind of quiet intelligence that seems almost human in its deliberation. The octopus glides across the rocky seafloor, each arm curling and uncurling in fluid synchrony, testing the contours of the terrain like fingertips reading braille. Its body shifts through textures and colors, mottled stone one moment, rippling sand the next, as chromatophores pulse under the skin in a living light show of neurons and muscle. This is no random drift. The octopus is searching for something very specific, a place to fall in love and to die. Among all ocean animals, few match the octopus in strangeness of life cycle. Each species, from the palm-sized pygmy to the monstrous giant Pacific octopus, follows a pattern of solitary existence punctuated by a single act of reproduction that defines their fate. Scientists call it semelparity, one breeding, one generation, one life. Unlike creatures that spawn repeatedly through their years, the octopus places everything, its body, its intelligence, its final reserves of energy, into that single attempt to ensure new life. What makes this tragic is not only the brevity of their lives, but the intensity of their purpose. The male's task begins with the arm. Among his 8, one is unlike the others, the hectocotylus, a modified appendage built for one function only, the careful transfer of sperm. Hidden within a groove on this arm lies a package called a spermatophore, a capsule filled with millions of microscopic lives waiting to begin their journey. When the time comes, the male must approach the female with both courage and caution. For all her grace, she is a hunter of terrifying efficiency. The wrong move could end his life before mating even begins. He extends the hectocotylus delicately, inserting it into the female's mantle cavity with surgical precision. The sperm transfer is not a rush, but a measured handover, a complex choreography of nerve control that may last minutes, sometimes hours. This act of intimacy is also an act of risk. Once mating is complete, the male begins to decline. Within weeks, his tissues break down, his appetite fades, and his brain enters what scientists call programmed senescence. Hormonal changes triggered by reproduction begin to dismantle the body from within, ensuring that he will not live long enough to mate again. It is evolution's ruthless economy, reproduction at the cost of self-preservation. For the female, life after love is not survival but service. Once fertilized, she searches for a den, often a crevice under coral, a volcanic vent, or a hollow shell deep within the reef. Here, she will transform from a master of disguise into a guardian of life. The octopus lays her eggs in clusters, long pearly strands that hang like curtains of glass beads, each one harboring a developing embryo. Depending on the species, a single female can lay tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of eggs. She arranges them meticulously, cleaning each with the tips of her suckers, coating them with antimicrobial mucus to prevent infection. Her den becomes both fortress and tomb. Inside the hollow, the mother begins her vigil. She stops eating altogether. Her once curious eyes, which used to scan every detail of the ocean world, now fix only on her brood. The months that follow are marked by endless work. fanning her eggs with gentle pulses of water to oxygenate them, plucking away dead or diseased ones before they can spread harm. Her body begins to wither. Muscle tone fades, color brilliance dulls, and even the elasticity of her skin seems to surrender to exhaustion. Yet she never leaves the den. No predator can match this level of parental devotion. None would endure starvation so willingly. Every motion of her arms is measured, every gesture fueled by the last remaining energy in her reserves. The science behind her sacrifice is written in hormones. In the optic gland, a small endocrine control center behind the octopus's brain, biochemical signals shift after egg laying. Once this gland activates, it floods her system with enzymes that suppress feeding, increase maternal care, and eventually trigger death. When researchers removed this gland in laboratory studies, females resumed eating and lived months longer, proof that her demise is not random, but orchestrated by evolution itself. The logic is brutal but effective. By dying, the mother ensures that no accidental predation, hunger, or distraction pulls her away from her eggs. Her entire existence is reduced to one goal: protection until the moment her young hatch. Outside the den, the ocean continues indifferent. Small fish dart between rocks, crabs forage for scraps, and currents bring news of distant storms. But inside, time slows. The eggs pulse softly with the rhythm of life, each embryo a miniature replica with curling arms and flickering chromatophores. Through the translucent casing, one can see tiny hearts beating, eyes forming, and arms stretching against their confinement. The mother, now skeletal and pale, still tends them. When at last the moment comes, she exhales her final breath in a slow wave of release. The eggs rupture and the den explodes with movement. A cloud of newborn octopuses, each no larger than a grain of rice, propelled upward by jets of water. They scatter instantly, instinct driving them toward the open ocean. Their mother does not see them go. The young drift into a world of danger. Carried by currents, they join the planktonic layer, invisible specks among billions of drifting organisms. Here, survival depends on chance and cunning. Transparent bodies make them difficult to spot. Tiny chromatophores allow them to darken or flash when threatened. They feed on copepods and larval crustaceans, their tentacles already armed with suction and control. For weeks they remain in this floating nursery, suspended between surface and depth. Many will be eaten by jellyfish, fish larvae, or even other octopuses. Only a few will survive to settle onto the seabed, where they will grow, learn, and inherit the cycle their parents began. The evolutionary trade-off, semelparity, may seem cruel, but it has shaped the octopus into one of the most sophisticated creatures in the sea. By concentrating all energy into a single reproductive event, the octopus maximizes reproductive success in a world where mortality is certain and predators abound. The strategy also frees evolution to experiment. With no parental generation lingering, each new hatchling becomes a genetic dice roll, a chance for faster reflexes, sharper intelligence, better camouflage. Over millions of years, this relentless turnover has produced the diversity of forms we see today: reef dwellers, burrowers, open ocean drifters, deep sea giants. Each a variation on the same ancient code. The camera pulls back, revealing the reef from above, a patchwork of coral, sand, and rock breathing with life. Somewhere in that mosaic lies a tiny den, now empty, its walls dusted with the remnants of motherhood. From the darkness, a plume of silt rises and drifts upward, fading into blue. Among the drifting plankton, the young octopuses rise like sparks into the current, vanishing toward the horizon. For them, the world is vast and perilous. For their mother, the story is done. Yet in the economy of evolution, her death is not an ending, but a continuation, a single act in a cycle that has repeated for hundreds of millions of years. One last love, one last breath, one more generation to take her place in the endless ocean. The reef awakes beneath the rising tide like a living theater of color and motion. Every coral branch hums with life. Damselfish patrol their tiny territories, Parrotfish scrape at algae-coated stone, and clouds of plankton drift in the shifting light. Amid this slow riot of activity, one of the ocean's most extraordinary artists makes its entrance. The cuttlefish hovers just above the sandy bottom, body suspended in perfect balance, fins undulating like ripples of silk. Its eyes, W-shaped pupils that can gauge polarization and depth simultaneously, take in every flicker, every shimmer, every motion that might signal a rival or a mate. For now, the stage is quiet, but tension runs deep beneath the calm surface. The color wars are about to begin. Cuttlefish are not simply masters of disguise, they are masters of expression. Beneath their smooth skin lies an orchestra of pigment cells and reflective plates, chromatophores, iridophores, and leucophores. These layers allow them to rewrite their appearance in fractions of a second. Each chromatophore is a microscopic sac of pigment that expands or contracts under direct neural control. Behind them, iridophores act like liquid mirrors, reflecting blues and greens that shift with the angle of light. Leucophores scatter ambient color, completing the illusion. Together, these structures turn the cuttlefish into a living canvas. Unlike most creatures that blend into their background for survival, the cuttlefish can weaponize its colors for deception, for dominance, and for love. It begins with a flicker, a wave of dark and light traveling down the body, pulsing like a heartbeat. This is not random display, but a precise signal. A male, drawn by the scent of a female nearby, begins his courtship with a strobe of contrast across his mantle. The flashing is both mesmerizing and revealing. It demonstrates his physical fitness. Only a healthy, neurologically sharp cuttlefish can maintain such complex control across millions of chromatophores. The female watches still and unreadable, her own colors muted. He drifts closer, tentacles drawn in, arms poised outward to exaggerate his size. Yet, just as the display reaches its crescendo, another male appears, larger, darker, a rival that will not yield without contest. In this world, battles are not always fought through violence, but through illusions of strength. The larger male intensifies his patterns, black and white bars pulsing down his flanks like lightning bolts. The smaller male, outmatched in size, shifts strategies. His colors soften, shapes blur, and suddenly his outline changes. Within seconds, he mimics the smooth, low-contrast tones of a female. The transformation is so precise that even the courting male doesn't notice the deception. While the dominant male continues his display toward the female, the imposter drifts along the periphery, calm and unthreatening. When opportunity opens, he slides close beneath her mantle, extending one of his arms, the hectocotylus, to deliver his spermatophore discreetly. Within moments, the deed is done. The sneaker male retreats, color fading to neutrality. The dominant male, unaware of his rival's success, continues his show in vain. Evolution rewards not only strength, but strategy. This behavioral duality, the coexistence of fighters and deceivers, reveals how evolution crafts flexibility into species that depend on brief mating windows. In dense populations, where physical clashes can be deadly and energy expensive, mimicry becomes a safer route to reproduction. Genetic studies have shown that both large and small males contribute offspring, ensuring that these alternative tactics persist across generations. In cuttlefish society, deception is not a flaw. It is a survival mechanism encoded in the very blueprint of the species. The most extraordinary moment of the ritual, however, comes when the male approaches the female directly. At close range, his body divides itself into two halves, literally. On the side facing the female, his skin adopts calm, neutral tones meant to soothe and attract. On the opposite side, facing potential rivals, he projects aggressive striping and flares of iridescence. This dual signaling, often described as split-screen camouflage, allows the male to court and defend simultaneously. It is a neurological feat unmatched by most vertebrates. Two messages, two emotional states broadcast in perfect synchrony. The female, impressed by both display and precision, finally yields. She allows him close, and the act of mating begins. With gentle precision, the male extends his hectocotylus, a modified arm lined with suckers and grooves. to transfer a spermatophore into the female's buccal cavity near her mouth. The process is intimate but brief. Fertilization occurs internally, giving the female control over timing. Afterward, she moves to a shaded section of reef, often beneath a coral overhang or inside a crevice, where she begins to lay her eggs. Each is encased in a gelatinous capsule, opaque and firm, resembling a cluster of black grapes. She attaches them one by one to the substrate, ensuring they are anchored against the surge of tides. Over days or weeks, the reef becomes speckled with these mysterious clusters, hundreds of small worlds, each harboring a developing cuttlefish embryo. Inside each egg, life unfolds with astonishing complexity. The embryo forms fully functional chromatophores before hatching, already capable of camouflage and communication. Even before birth, they begin responding to external stimuli. If the mother lays her eggs in a brightly colored coral environment, the young cuttlefish will emerge predisposed to mimic that palette, an example of prenatal environmental imprinting that shapes survival from the moment of conception. When the hatchlings finally emerge, they are miniature versions of the adults, no larger than a fingernail, yet already equipped with the full arsenal of adaptive camouflage and predatory instinct. Their first movements are jets of propulsion, their first meals tiny shrimp or planktonic crustaceans, hunted with rapid precision. The hatchlings' camouflage is not just visual, but behavioral. They learn to match the texture and motion of their surroundings, undulating their fins in synchrony with seagrass or coral polyps. Some species even imitate specific predators, like venomous flatfish or lionfish, deterring attacks through bluff. This ability to merge appearance, texture, and motion makes them among the most versatile mimic species on the planet. It is also what allows cuttlefish to survive their vulnerable juvenile stages, when nearly every creature in the reef considers them food. The cycle of life for cuttlefish is brief, rarely exceeding 2 years. Like their relatives, the octopuses, they are semiparous. They mate once and then die soon after. After reproduction, both males and females enter senescence. Their colors dull, coordination falters, and their once sharp minds fade into confusion. For a creature capable of solving mazes and learning patterns in laboratory experiments, this decline seems tragic, but it is nature's rhythm. By dying, they make space for the next generation in ecosystems already packed with competitors. In death, their bodies feed scavengers, their ink enriches the sediment, and their genes persist in the next wave of living color. As the camera pans outward, the reef becomes a kaleidoscope of change. Coral shadows flicker, schools of anthias shimmer like molten gold, and within it all, the cuttlefish glides on. Even in stillness, its body never stops shifting, a patchwork of light, shadow, and thought. Every flash is a signal, every shimmer a conversation. In this world, survival is not just about hiding, it is about knowing when to be seen and how to be believed. And in that delicate balance between truth and illusion, the cuttlefish reigns as the ocean's master of disguise, a creature whose final love story is written not in words or songs, but in light. The lagoon lies still beneath a pastel dawn, its surface so calm it mirrors the sky in perfect symmetry. Then with a sudden flick of silver, the water breaks. A dolphin arcs through the air, glistening in the light like living mercury. Its splash sends ripples racing outward, shattering the mirror and waking the seabirds that circle overhead. Below the surface, the scene transforms into a theater of motion and sound. Beams of sunlight slice through the turquoise, catching flashes of movement. A pod of bottlenose dolphins moving in formation, weaving through one another with the ease of practiced choreography. Their clicks and whistles fill the water, a rapid-fire language that carries farther than sight, creating a social web as intricate as any human conversation. To understand dolphins is to enter a world where intelligence, emotion, and cooperation blur the boundaries between instinct and culture. Unlike most marine predators, whose social lives revolve around hierarchy or survival alone, dolphins live within a framework of alliances, friendships, and gestures of affection that seem almost sentimental. Every movement has meaning. When one dolphin glides up beside another and brushes its pectoral fin gently along the other's side, it is not mere contact. It is reassurance, recognition, a reaffirmation of trust. Fin rubbing has been documented across multiple species, and the gesture strengthens bonds much like grooming among primates. Scientists studying pods in Shark Bay, Australia, have found that dolphins use these interactions to maintain alliances that can last decades. In the open ocean, friendship is not luxury, it is strategy. At the center of dolphin society lies one of the most complex systems of political cooperation in the animal kingdom. Males form long-term alliances, small coalitions of 2 or 3 that hunt, travel, and court females together. These partnerships can merge into larger super-alliances, temporary pacts between groups to defend access to females or to repel intruding pods. The alliances are dynamic, built on reciprocity and memory. One dolphin may aid another in a confrontation, expecting that favor to be returned weeks or even years later. This intricate web of cooperation and competition is maintained through constant communication, the exchange of signature whistles, the acoustic equivalent of names. Each dolphin develops a distinct whistle early in life, and individuals can recognize one another's calls even after years of separation. The ocean, to a dolphin, is not empty space. It is a network of voices. These bonds extend far beyond strategy. Dolphins display behaviors that suggest deep emotional awareness. They bring one another gifts, pieces of coral, strands of seaweed or floating debris, offered and passed between individuals during courtship or play. In some populations, they blow perfect bubble rings, circular vortices that rise toward the surface like underwater smoke rings, only to spin and reform at the dolphin's command. Sometimes they chase these rings, sometimes they shape them, sometimes they offer them to others as though presenting a toy or challenge. Play for dolphins is more than leisure. It is rehearsal, for hunting, for communication, for social negotiation. Through play, they refine coordination, test dominance, and learn empathy. The young in particular are tireless players, mimicking adults in mock chases and synchronized leaps that lay the foundation for the cooperation they will one day need. Beneath this surface of camaraderie lies an evolutionary masterpiece, a brain sculpted for both emotion and analysis. A dolphin's brain is large relative to body size, rivaling that of great apes. Its neocortex, the region responsible for higher cognition, is densely folded, increasing the surface area available for processing information. Within the brain, spindle neurons, once thought unique to humans, enable rapid social decision-making and emotional resonance. The result is an animal capable not just of learning, but of understanding the mental states of others. This awareness fuels the social intelligence that defines their world, knowing when to yield, when to support, when to lead. It also comes at a cost. Intelligence demands energy, and energy demands cooperation, the very fabric of dolphin society. Reproduction in dolphins intertwines biology with behavior in equally sophisticated ways. When mating season arrives, males of allied groups court females through displays of agility and coordination, synchronized leaps, spins, and underwater chases. But aggression and persuasion often intertwine. Males sometimes herd females, guiding them gently but firmly away from rival groups. Dominance plays a role, but so does familiarity. Females often choose partners they have encountered before, perhaps recognizing individual whistles or past interactions. The act of mating itself can be tender, with gentle touches and repeated interactions over days. Once conception occurs, the female's pregnancy lasts about a year, a period marked by increasing social dependence. She will often travel with older, experienced females, the aunties of the pod, who provide protection and guidance through gestation and later birth. When the moment of birth arrives, it happens in the quiet safety of the shallows. The female is surrounded by other females who assist in her labor, guarding against sharks or other threats. The calf emerges tail first, a rare adaptation among mammals that prevents drowning during delivery. Within seconds, it must rise to the surface to take its first breath, aided by the mother and her attendants. The newborn skin is pale, almost grey-blue, and its dorsal fin is still soft and folded. Over the coming weeks, the calf will learn to nurse underwater, pressing its mouth against a specialized nipple that releases milk only when stimulated. an adaptation that prevents waste in the fluid environment. The mother produces milk so rich in fat that the calf grows rapidly, doubling its body weight within a few months. But what truly defines dolphin childhood is not feeding or growth, it is learning. Dolphin calves remain with their mothers for several years, a long childhood designed to nurture one of the ocean's most complex minds. During this time, they learn everything from hunting techniques to social etiquette. They practice echolocation by chasing fish under their mother's supervision, refining the precision of their clicks and buzzes until they can detect prey hidden beneath sand. They watch as adults cooperate in hunts, surrounding schools of fish and driving them into tight balls before taking turns to feed. They observe play, imitation, and even deception. In some cases, young males have been seen mimicking adults' courtship gestures long before they reach maturity, an early rehearsal for future alliances and rivalries. Each lesson learned is one brick in the structure of social survival. Affection remains the glue that binds dolphin society together. They swim close, touching flanks, rubbing fins, and maintaining eye contact. Their sense of touch is acute. Nerve endings concentrated beneath the smooth skin allow them to feel the faintest movement of water against another's body. This tactile communication extends to distress and grief. When a dolphin dies, others have been observed supporting its body at the surface, sometimes for hours, as if unwilling to let go. Such behavior may not signify mourning in the human sense, but it reveals empathy, a recognition of loss that few animals exhibit so clearly. In the grand ecological scheme, dolphins occupy a unique niche. They are apex predators, regulating fish populations and maintaining the balance of marine ecosystems. Yet their intelligence, play, and emotion add dimensions far beyond survival. They embody a kind of consciousness shaped by the ocean itself, fluid, adaptive, and deeply social. In their world, cooperation replaces claws, and friendship becomes evolution's sharpest tool. As dusk returns to the lagoon, the pod gathers again. The water glows gold under the sinking sun. Two adults surface together, their dorsal fins slicing the light. One exhales, a plume of mist catching the last rays, while the other flicks its tail in quiet synchrony. Below them, calves chase streams of bubbles, inventing games in a language no human has yet fully decoded. The pod drifts onward, bound by bonds invisible yet unbreakable. In the silence of the sea, they continue their conversation, a dialogue of clicks, touch, and trust, proof that intelligence in the ocean did not evolve to conquer, but to connect. In the turquoise shallows of a tropical channel, the sea seems impossibly calm. The water glows with the color of liquid sky, rippling gently over pale sand. Then from the blue horizon, the calm fractures. A massive shadow moves beneath the surface, deliberate, fluid, and slow as a mountain in motion. The humpback whale rises toward the light, her barnacled back breaching the surface in an explosion of spray. The sound reverberates like thunder muffled by distance. This is the tropic sea where giants come not to feed but to love, fight, and sing. For months, they have traveled thousands of kilometers from polar feeding grounds, fasting the entire way. Now, in these warm waters, the purpose of their journey unfolds: to court, to mate, to give birth, and to raise the next generation before the cycle begins again. A humpback whale's migration is among the longest in the animal kingdom. Some populations travel from the nutrient-rich coasts of Alaska or Antarctica to breeding lagoons near Hawaii, the Caribbean, or the South Pacific, journeys that can span over 10,000 kilometers. The separation of feeding and breeding grounds is not a quirk of geography, but a matter of life and death. Cold, polar seas teem with krill and schooling fish that sustain their enormous appetites, but such waters would kill a newborn calf within minutes. Warm tropical waters offer safety from hypothermia and from many of the great ocean predators. Yet here, food is scarce. Every adult whale lives off the thick reserves of blubber built during months of feeding in the icy north or south, converting stored energy into muscle, movement, and song. At the height of the breeding season, the stillness of the tropical waters gives way to chaos. The heat run. A female ready to mate becomes the center of an aquatic battlefield. The moment her pheromones disperse through the water, males converge from kilometers away, sometimes more than a dozen at once. The chase begins with low groans and trumpeting calls, a chorus of power and urgency that carries for miles. The sea boils with movement as the males ram one another with their heads, tails, and fins. They charge, collide, and dive, expelling great plumes of bubbles that mark their paths like smoke trails in a dogfight. Blood may mix with the foam, and barnacles scrape deep gouges into flesh, but there is no malice in this violence. It is ritualized combat, strength displayed through endurance and precision. Only the most determined, agile male can stay closest to the female as she swims steadily forward, leading her suitors through kilometers of pursuit. This is how a winner is chosen, not by killing a rival, but by outlasting them. Humpback whales are built for such endurance. Their long wing-like pectoral fins, the largest appendages of any animal, provide maneuverability unmatched by other whales. Beneath their blubber, an intricate vascular network regulates body temperature during the exertion of combat in warm water. Their powerful lungs, capable of storing more oxygen per unit of volume than most mammals, allow them to stay submerged for 20 minutes at a time. Yet what truly defines them in these breeding grounds is not their physical strength, but their voice. Humpback males sing. Their songs are among the most complex vocal displays in the animal world. Long, structured compositions of moans, trills, clicks, and cries that can last for hours and carry across entire ocean basins. Each population has its own dialect, and the songs evolve year by year, changing like human music across generations. Males often sing while hanging vertically in the water column, head down, using their vast chest cavities as resonance chambers. The sound waves bounce off thermoclines and travel far beyond human hearing range. Scientists still debate their full purpose. The prevailing theory suggests that the songs function as both mating display and territorial announcement, a way to advertise fitness, intelligence, and stamina to potential mates while warning rival males. What is certain is that no two whales sing the same song forever. Each season, new phrases appear, and old ones fade, as if culture itself flows through the ocean in melody. While males compete and sing, a different drama unfolds nearby. A mother whale, thin from months of fasting, moves slowly through the lagoon with her newborn calf pressed against her side. The calf is enormous by human standards, several meters long and weighing close to a ton, yet fragile compared to the mother's 30-ton mass. The bond between them is intimate and unbreakable. Every few minutes, the calf surfaces to breathe, always rising just ahead of the mother's blowhole, learning her rhythm. Beneath the surface, it nurses, tucking its mouth under her body to draw milk from specialized mammary slits. The milk is incredibly rich, nearly 50% fat, allowing the calf to gain dozens of kilograms each day. To feed in an environment devoid of prey, the mother metabolizes her own fat reserves, sacrificing her body weight for her offspring's survival. Their relationship is shadowed by danger. Tiger sharks and orcas patrol the margins of the lagoon, drawn by the sounds of splashing calves. To protect her young, the mother often enlists the help of escort whales, large males or other females that travel beside her. Their motives are not always altruistic. Some escorts are suitors, waiting for the mother's next estrus cycle. Others may be older females who have already raised calves of their own. Regardless of intent, their presence offers protection. When a predator approaches, the escort may position itself between the calf and the threat, using its bulk and tail to deter an attack. The trio, mother, calf, and escort, move in near silence. Communication drops to low-frequency rumbles that barely register above the hum of the sea, an evolutionary adaptation to avoid detection by lurking killers. The calf's education begins immediately. It learns to breathe, dive, and communicate, guided by the mother's example. She nudges it gently into deeper water, encourages it to strengthen its tail flukes, and teaches it the art of gliding with minimal effort. Calves often rest on her back or beneath her fins, enveloped in the security of her presence. This learning process is crucial. Within months, they must be strong enough to travel thousands of kilometers back to the feeding grounds, a migration they will repeat every year of their lives. The mother's guidance, however, will not last forever. By the time the next breeding season approaches, she will begin to separate, and the calf will face the ocean alone. The migration itself is a feat of navigation that borders on the miraculous. Humpback whales cross vast, featureless expanses of ocean without landmarks or guides. Studies suggest that they may use a combination of magnetic field sensing, solar cues, and memory of oceanic topography to stay on course. Some individuals return to the same breeding ground year after year with astonishing precision, deviating by only a few kilometers. This navigational fidelity ensures that songs, courtship traditions, and genetic lineages remain distinct across populations. Each ocean basin, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, hosts its own symphony of whale song, a cultural fingerprint passed through generations. Even after centuries of whaling and decades of research, the humpback whale continues to defy full understanding. Its songs still carry mysteries no human ear can decode. Its migrations map routes invisible to human eyes. Yet its story is not just one of survival, but of rebirth. Once hunted nearly to extinction, humpbacks have rebounded in many regions under international protection. Their populations now number in the tens of thousands, each life a reminder of resilience in an ocean under siege. As the sun sinks, the camera drifts beneath the surface one last time. The mother and calf rest side by side, suspended in the amber glow of fading light. Far below, a solitary male begins his song, a slow, mournful pulse that vibrates through the water like the heartbeat of the sea itself. It rises, grows, and ripples outward into darkness, joining the invisible chorus of other males scattered across the ocean's breadth. The sound may travel hundreds of kilometers before fading, carrying with it the unbroken story of endurance, migration, and connection, the song of a species that remembers the world in sound. The water is warm and thick with life, a suspended haze of plankton glowing in the angled light that filters through from the surface. The camera glides just beneath the glittering ceiling of the open ocean, where the boundary between air and water is blurred by the shimmer of heat. From this liquid sky, a shape descends, a sinuous body gliding with the effortless rhythm of something built for two worlds. A sea snake, scales glinting like polished metal, ripples downward through the blue. It belongs to a lineage that began on land, but which has since abandoned the shore entirely. It breathes air like a terrestrial reptile, yet lives, hunts, and mates in the endless expanse of the sea. Every motion is an evolution perfected. Lungs that stretch almost the entire length of the body, nostrils that close under pressure, and skin that can absorb oxygen directly from the water. The sea snake is both immigrant and native, bridging two realms in one body. In these tropical shallows, the season of reproduction is chaos in slow motion. Males patrol the reefs and open water, following invisible chemical trails left by females through the current. Their tongues flick in and out, drawing molecules into a specialized sensory organ that translates scent into direction, a living compass of pheromones. When a female is found, the calm of the sea erupts into a tangle of motion. Half a dozen males coil around her, bodies wrapping, twisting, knotting together in a writhing mass. From above, it looks like a single creature made of muscle and motion, a mating ball drifting through the blue. Each male competes for the narrow chance to align his cloaca with hers, often using the small keratinized spurs near his vent to anchor himself in the struggle. The others push, shove, and wrap tighter, oxygen running low in every lung. This is not a contest of dominance through force, but of endurance. Breathing in these moments becomes strategy. Sea snakes are reptiles, not fish. They must surface to inhale. Yet surfacing in the middle of courtship risks losing the race. Males cling to the female until the last possible second, then break upward in synchronized lunges, each gulping air before plunging back down into the frenzy. Their bodies roll and flash in the light, silver scales scattering sunbeams like mirrors. Sometimes their courtship instincts misfire. Divers and swimmers have found themselves suddenly pursued by desperate males, mistaking the movement of a leg or fin for the serpentine outline of a female. It is an evolutionary hazard of a sense of smell more powerful than sight, honed for molecules rather than shapes. As the camera draws closer, we see the precision behind the chaos. The male's cloacal spurs, vestiges of ancient hind limbs, scrape softly along the female's flanks, tactile cues that synchronize movement and position. These tiny hooks, relics from their lizard ancestry, are all that remain of limbs lost to time. After hours of wrestling, one male succeeds. His body aligns perfectly, and for a few moments the others peel away, exhausted. Fertilization occurs internally, deep within the female's oviducts, far from the water that surrounds them. The victorious male will soon leave, his role in the cycle complete, his genes carried within her toward the next generation. Unlike their terrestrial relatives, many sea snakes do not return to land to give birth. Instead, evolution has transformed them into live-bearing species, fully adapted to pelagic life. Within the female, the fertilized eggs develop for months, nourished by yolk until the embryos are ready. When birth finally comes, it happens in the open ocean. No nest, no beach, no return to shore. The mother releases her young directly into the sea, tiny replicas of herself, no longer than a human finger, already capable of swimming and hunting. Even at this size, they are armed. The fangs are functional, the venom potent. A newborn sea snake can deliver a bite as lethal as an adult's, though its small size and shyness make it no threat to anything larger than a shrimp. Venom in these creatures is not a weapon of defense, but a precision tool of predation, a biochemical adaptation designed to immobilize small fish and eels before they can vanish into the reef. The young scatter instantly, driven by instinct and current. Their survival depends on avoiding the many predators that patrol the shallows, groupers, sharks, and even larger sea snakes. Those that endure will grow rapidly, shedding skin underwater every few weeks to rid themselves of parasites and biofilm. With each molt, their skin renews its microscopic texture, a surface so smooth it prevents barnacles and algae from taking hold. The structure of the scales, combined with constant movement, keeps them clean in a world where every still surface becomes colonized. This hydrodynamic armor allows them to glide with minimal drag, conserving oxygen and energy across vast distances. Oxygen management defines every aspect of their existence. The sea snake's lung runs almost the full length of its body, functioning not only for respiration, but also for buoyancy control. Specialized blood vessels beneath the skin allow limited cutaneous gas exchange, an evolutionary halfway point between breathing air and living underwater. Studies have shown that some species can obtain up to 1/3 of their oxygen through the skin, a remarkable feat for an air-breathing vertebrate. This physiological compromise allows them to remain submerged for nearly half an hour, diving as deep as 200 meters in search of prey. Yet no matter how far they roam, every journey ends the same way, with a return to the surface, a ripple, and a single quiet breath. Predation on sea snakes is rare, but not absent. Tiger sharks, large groupers, and sea eagles have been recorded taking them, though the risk often outweighs the reward. The snake's muscular bodies are laced with venom glands, and their movements erratic when threatened, making them difficult and dangerous prey. More often, their deaths come by misfortune, storms, fishing nets, or pollution, reminders that even the most perfect adaptations cannot protect against human interference. In recent decades, plastic waste has become a silent predator. Sea snakes, mistaking floating ribbons for drifting prey, often become entangled and drown when they cannot surface to breathe. Still, they endure, occupying a niche no other reptile has mastered. They bridge the boundaries of ecology, reptilian air breathers hunting among gills and fins. In coral lagoons, they thread through branching structures like living ropes, their movements so controlled that even schools of fish barely scatter. Some species specialize in hunting moray eels and gobies, using electroreception to detect faint bioelectric signals. Their forked tongues flick across the substrate, reading invisible maps of scent and current. Others patrol the open ocean, trailing beneath drift lines where small fish gather. Their skin, patterned in yellows and blacks, is not just camouflage but warning, a message to predators that the meal is not worth the risk. When mating season returns, the cycle begins anew. The males once again follow the faint traces of pheromone trails through the current, their bodies weaving through the blue like ribbons of living silk. The same tangled choreography repeats: competition, contact, endurance, a timeless ritual that plays out beneath the sunlit surface of tropical seas. As the camera rises above them, the shapes of the mating ball fade into silhouettes, twisting and merging in the glare of light. From this height, they look less like individuals and more like one organism, a single pulse of movement bound by purpose and instinct. For all their strangeness, sea snakes remain an elegant answer to evolution's most difficult question: how to live between worlds. They have traded legs for grace, lungs for endurance, and the safety of land for the open sea. They are proof that even the boundaries of biology are negotiable. In every ripple of their scales and every tangled knot of their courtship, the ocean rewrites the rules of what it means to be alive. Beneath the turquoise calm of the shallow tropics, sunlight fractures through the surface in soft golden ribbons, painting the backs of ancient travelers. A green sea turtle glides silently across the seagrass meadow, her flippers moving in slow, deliberate strokes, her shell mottled with the history of decades spent between two worlds. Every scar, every patch of algae clinging to her carapace tells of survival. Storms endured, sharks escaped, migrations that crossed entire oceans. For most of her life, the turtle's rhythm has been cyclical yet boundless, feeding in coastal shallows, journeying through pelagic deserts, resting in coral refuges. But now, something has changed. Deep within her body, instinct older than continents pulls her toward the place where her story began, a beach she has not seen since the day she first crawled into the sea. The camera follows as she rises through the blue, surfacing with a soft hiss of breath. Her eyes, adapted to the dim greens of the ocean, blink against the glare of the tropical sun. Using an internal compass of magnetic fields, she has navigated thousands of kilometers with astonishing precision. Scientists believe green sea turtles imprint on the unique magnetic signature of their natal beach at birth, a magnetic fingerprint encoded in their nervous system. Decades later, they return to that exact coastline, guided not by memory in the human sense, but by a sensory map inscribed into their physiology. How this process works at the molecular level remains one of biology's great mysteries, a seamless union of evolution and planetary physics. As dusk falls, she approaches the shore. The surf rolls gently, and the air carries the smell of salt and heat-soaked sand. This is her birthplace, the beach of beginnings. For millions of years, green sea turtles have returned to such shores under the cover of darkness, a timeless migration that links life to geography in a cycle both fragile and eternal. The female waits just beyond the breakers, suspended in the surf zone, scanning the shoreline. Only when the beach is quiet, no predators, no movement, does she begin her crawl. The sound is faint but deliberate, the drag of her body over sand, the rhythmic thrust of her flippers as she hauls her weight forward. Each movement costs enormous effort. Her anatomy, perfected for buoyancy, now works against her. Yet the drive is absolute. She stops high above the tide line and begins to dig, alternating flippers to scoop out a broad pit. Then, with her hind flippers, she excavates a narrow chamber half a meter deep, a feat of precision performed in near total darkness. The work takes nearly an hour. Her breathing slows. Grains of sand cling to her shell like dust on stone. When the nest is ready, she lowers her tail and begins to lay. The eggs emerge soft and round, coated in a thin, flexible shell that protects without cracking under weight. One after another they fall into the chamber, dozens of white spheres, each smaller than a ping-pong ball. By the end, there may be 80 or even 100. Males and females alike have contributed their genes. Multiple paternity within a single clutch is common among sea turtles, an evolutionary safeguard that increases genetic diversity and resilience. Once the final egg drops, she covers the chamber carefully, tamping the sand with methodical precision until the surface looks untouched. Then, without hesitation, she turns back toward the ocean. There is no farewell, no backward glance. Her work here is done, and she will never see her offspring. Beneath the sand, life begins in silence. The eggs incubate for roughly 2 months, their fate determined not by chance, but by temperature. This phenomenon, called temperature-dependent sex determination, is one of nature's most delicate systems. Warmer nests produce mostly females, cooler nests yield males. Just a few degrees difference in the sand can shift the ratio entirely. With climate change now warming tropical beaches worldwide, many populations are producing overwhelming numbers of females. A slow, invisible imbalance that threatens the species' long-term survival. Yet for now, evolution continues as it always has, quietly, efficiently, without pause. Inside each egg, the embryo develops within a protective capsule, its yolk nourishing the growing turtle. The shell allows gas exchange, oxygen seeping in, carbon dioxide escaping, while the embryo's heartbeat quickens in rhythm with the rising temperature of the sand. In the final days before hatching, the siblings begin to communicate through vibrations and muffled squeaks, synchronizing their emergence. One night when the surface cools and the tide is high, the sand begins to stir. Tiny heads break through, followed by flailing flippers. The hatchlings erupt in a coordinated frenzy, a mass emergence designed to overwhelm predators through sheer numbers. Each weighs less than 30 grams, yet carries the genetic memory of a lineage that has survived since the age of dinosaurs. The camera zooms close as the sand boils with motion. The hatchlings scramble upward, guided by the faintest glimmer of moonlight reflecting off the waves. Their instincts are flawless, crawl downhill toward the brightest horizon. For millions of years, this cue has led them safely to the sea. But now, on many beaches, human development confuses their senses. Artificial lights from hotels and roads lure hatchlings inland, where dehydration or predation await. Conservationists have learned to shield lights, to restore the natural guidance of the moon and stars, reminders that even simple instincts depend on darkness, a resource as vital as food or oxygen. Those that reach the surf meet their first trial of endurance. Waves twice their size crash over them, tumbling them backward. They fight forward again, paddling furiously with flippers that seem too small for the task. Each second counts. Ghost crabs and seabirds wait at the shoreline, picking off stragglers. Fewer than 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will survive to adulthood. But the survivors, propelled by instinct and chance, catch the current of a nearby riptide and vanish into the open sea. What follows are the so-called lost years, a hidden chapter of turtle life that long eluded science. For up to a decade, young turtles drift far from land, riding oceanic gyres that encircle the tropics. These currents carry them through vast floating ecosystems of sargassum, golden mats of seaweed that form floating nurseries for countless species. Here the juvenile turtles find shelter and food, small crustaceans, jellyfish and algae that sustain them until they grow large enough to return to coastal feeding grounds. Satellite tagging and chemical analysis of shells have only recently revealed these mysterious wanderings, filling in the missing years once known only through conjecture. The turtle's survival during this period is a triumph of passive navigation, relying on currents, instinct, and an evolutionary design built for endurance rather than speed. Decades later, the cycle closes. The camera returns to the same beach under another moon. A new generation of females approaches from the dark horizon, each guided by that same invisible compass encoded at birth. Their shells gleam with the polish of open water, their flippers scarred from predators and nets, but their purpose is undiminished. They crawl ashore, dig, lay, and return. One more chapter in a lineage unbroken for over 100 million years. The sand cools, the tide rises, and the moonlight reflects once again off the waves, calling the next generation home before it has even begun. The beach of beginnings remains both cradle and crucible, a place where the future of an ancient species rests beneath a few centimeters of sand. For the turtles, survival is not luck but legacy, written into every cell of their bodies. Their story, etched across oceans and centuries, reminds us that evolution's most enduring masterpiece is not strength or speed, but persistence. In the bright shallows of the coral reef, where light flickers like liquid gold through clear blue water, a small world unfolds among the tentacles of a sea anemone. The camera drifts closer, revealing orange and white shapes weaving through a forest of stinging tendrils. The clownfish, bold, conspicuous, and unafraid, moves with the confidence of an animal that knows its place in a dangerous ecosystem. Around it, butterfly fish, wrasses, and damselfish keep their distance, avoiding the venomous embrace of the anemone. But for the clownfish, this is home. Here, among those lethal tentacles, lies both protection and purpose. This partnership between clownfish and anemone is one of the most iconic examples of mutualism in marine biology. A relationship built not on chance, but on millions of years of co-evolution. The anemone's tentacles are lined with specialized stinging cells called nematocysts, which discharge microscopic harpoons filled with toxins capable of paralyzing small fish. Yet the clownfish swims freely among them, immune to their touch. This immunity is not inherited but learned through ritual. When a young clownfish first approaches a potential host anemone, it does so cautiously, performing a delicate dance. It brushes lightly against the tentacles, retreating, then returns again, each pass coating its body with a layer of mucus from the anemone's surface. Over time, the fish's own mucus chemistry changes, a complex cocktail of sugars and proteins mimicking that of its host. To the anemone, the fish no longer registers as foreign, and the weapons remain sheathed. The benefits flow both ways. The clownfish gains shelter from predators that would never dare venture near the stings of an anemone. In return, the anemone receives nutrients in the form of waste produced by its tenant, as well as increased water circulation from the fish's constant movement. Studies have shown that anemones with clownfish grow faster and are healthier than those without. The clownfish also defends its host aggressively, chasing away butterfly fish that might nip at its tentacles. What began as convenience has evolved into dependency. Neither species thrives as well without the other. Inside the anemone's protection lies a social structure as intricate as the coral reef itself. Each anemone hosts a single group of clownfish, typically fewer than half a dozen individuals. Within that group, hierarchy governs everything. At the top is the dominant female, the largest and most powerful fish in the group. Below her is the breeding male, smaller but still formidable in rank. Beneath them are juveniles, non-breeding subordinates that serve as both helpers and insurance against loss. This strict ladder is maintained through constant subtle communication, body posture, fin flicks, and controlled aggression. The social tension ensures that no one grows too fast or challenges authority. If a subordinate were to exceed the size of the male or female, it would be expelled or killed. Size, not age, defines destiny. This hierarchy supports one of nature's most fascinating reproductive systems, sequential hermaphroditism, or the ability to change sex. Clownfish are all born male, but within the anemone's small community, the largest individual transforms into a female. This transition is not a temporary hormonal fluctuation, it is a complete physiological overhaul. Gonads restructure, behavior shifts, and dominance is solidified. If the female dies or is removed, the breeding male undergoes his own transformation, becoming the new female. The next largest juvenile matures into the new male, and the cycle continues. This flexible system ensures the group can always reproduce, no matter what fate befalls them. Evolution has crafted a social machine that repairs itself instantly, maintaining continuity in an environment where survival is fragile and change is constant. When breeding season arrives, the pair's bond strengthens. The female selects a smooth patch of rock or coral just below the anemone's tentacles, where she deposits hundreds of adhesive orange eggs. The male fertilizes them immediately, then assumes the role of caretaker. His devotion is tireless. For days, he guards the eggs, fanning them with his fins to keep oxygen circulating and removing debris or dead embryos with delicate nibbles. The male's diligence is essential. Without his care, few eggs would survive fungal growth or oxygen deprivation. As the embryos develop, their eyes darken, tiny silver orbs watching the water currents above them. Timing in the reef is everything. Hatching is synchronized with the lunar cycle, typically occurring at night during the darkest phase of the moon. The timing minimizes the risk of predation. Fewer visual hunters patrol when the water is black. On that night, the male becomes restless, fanning more vigorously as the larvae inside the eggs twitch with life. One by one, the eggs rupture, releasing transparent larvae that drift upward, joining the planktonic soup carried by the currents. From that moment, they are on their own. The ocean beyond the reef is an unforgiving nursery. Tiny and translucent, the larvae drift for weeks, feeding on microscopic plankton while avoiding a world of predators. Most will not survive. The few that do eventually settle back onto a reef, guided by a combination of sound, chemical cues, and instinct. Remarkably, they can detect the scent of the specific anemone species their parents inhabited, ensuring that each generation reunites with the proper host. Once they find one, the ritual begins anew. The cautious dance of acclimation, the re-establishment of symbiosis, the slow climb up the social ladder. The clownfish's vivid coloration, so striking that it seems self-destructive, plays a subtle ecological role. The bright orange and white bands are not camouflage but advertisement, a signal that this fish is protected by its venomous host. It is a classic case of aposematism, where danger is broadcast rather than hidden. Predators learn to associate these colors with stings and leave them alone. Yet these colors also serve a social purpose within the group, allowing individuals to identify one another quickly in the flickering light of the reef. The patterns are unique to each species of clownfish, fine-tuned to the specific wavelengths of light that penetrate their native waters. The anemone, too, is more than a passive participant. Some species host only a single type of clownfish, while others support multiple, each defending a separate patch of tentacles. The pairing between species is so precise that it has driven coevolution, mutual adaptations that shape both partners' distribution and behavior. For instance, certain clownfish will farm their anemone, keeping algae from overgrowing its surface, while others actively bring bits of food to its tentacles. Their relationship represents not dominance or servitude, but balance, a mutual reliance sculpted by time. As the camera pans back, the reef stretches endlessly, a labyrinth of coral spires, crinoid arms, and darting fish illuminated by sunlight from above. In this living city, the clownfish and its anemone appear small, almost insignificant. Yet their story encapsulates the reef's greatest truth. Survival here depends not on size or strength, but on cooperation. From the smallest polyp to the largest predator, every species exists in negotiation with another. The clownfish's family, ruled by dominance, transformed by biology, and anchored to a lethal partner, stands as proof that even in the most competitive environments on Earth, the most powerful force of evolution is not conflict, but collaboration. In the dim world beneath the reef, daylight fades not in minutes, but in colors. Reds go first, then yellows, then greens, until the seascape becomes a blue-black dream, illuminated only by the slow shimmer of plankton drifting in the current. This is when the reef transforms. Diurnal fish vanish into cracks and crevices, while nocturnal hunters emerge from the labyrinth of coral. From one such crevice, a head appears, jaws slightly parted, eyes reflecting the faint light of the rising moon. It is a moray eel, ancient and deliberate, tasting the water with every pulse of its mouth. Its body, hidden in shadow, stretches for over a meter through a maze of coral tunnels. Tonight, however, it hunts for neither fish nor crustacean. Tonight, it rises for something older and far rarer, a ritual of continuation written into the tides. The ocean is not still. Even in the dark, it moves with the steady pull of lunar gravity, invisible rivers coursing between coral heads and channels. The moray feels this motion not as water against its skin, but as vibration, as pressure, as instinct. Somewhere nearby, another eel stirs, a mate it has not seen for months, perhaps years. For morays, reproduction is not an act of pair bonding, but an intersection of timing, chemistry, and environmental precision. The triggers align rarely. Water temperature, lunar phase, and current strength must match a narrow biological window. When the cues converge, the eels abandon the safety of the reef and ascend into open water, where gravity, moonlight, and the invisible geometry of the sea will orchestrate their most vulnerable act. From a distance, their movement seems like smoke rising from the reef, two bodies spiraling upward in a slow, hypnotic dance. The morays entwine, muscle over muscle, their flexible spines coiling in synchronized tension. Their skin glistens silver-green beneath the moonlight filtering through the surface. Around them, bioluminescent plankton ignite in brief bursts of blue, tracing the pattern of their ascent. This is the night spiral, a rare and fleeting event seen by few divers and filmed even less. In these minutes, the boundaries between predator and prey dissolve. Every motion is consumed by reproduction. As the spiral tightens, the eels press their bodies together. The female, slightly larger, releases a stream of eggs into the water, thousands of translucent spheres rising like smoke bubbles. The male responds with a cloud of sperm, milky in the moonlight. Fertilization happens externally, a gamble against dilution and predation. The eggs, fertilized mid-drift, disperse quickly, carried away by the same currents that guided their parents here. By dawn, the eels will return to the safety of their rocky dens, their purpose fulfilled. The sea will keep their secret. Each egg begins a journey that defies imagination. After hatching, the larvae, called leptocephali, bear no resemblance to the adults. They are transparent, leaf-shaped, and nearly invisible in the open ocean. Instead of swimming, they drift, absorbing dissolved organic matter from seawater rather than feeding on prey. This strategy, called passive feeding, allows them to survive for months or even years as they ride global currents across oceans. For the moray, reproduction is a strategy of scale. Produce millions, lose nearly all, but let the survivors scatter widely enough to recolonize reefs thousands of kilometers apart. In this way, the species perpetuates its genetic footprint, not through protection or care, but through abundance and dispersal. The currents themselves are not random highways, but predictable forces shaped by lunar and solar rhythms. Morays time their spawning to coincide with slack tides and specific moon phases, often around the new or full moon, when gravitational forces and current flows peak. These moonlit nights offer both opportunity and risk. The increased light aids synchronization. The eels can locate one another in the dim water, but it also exposes them to predators. The open ocean at night is a battlefield of silhouettes. Barracudas, jacks, and reef sharks patrol the mid-water, drawn by the faint flashes of movement. Yet the moray's release is brief and well-timed. Their ascent and spawning last only minutes, a burst of biological precision before retreat. To linger would be fatal. Why this synchronization matters goes beyond survival. For species that spend most of their lives solitary and hidden, timing ensures success in an environment too vast for random encounters. Chemical cues in the water, pheromones released by ripe females, diffuse rapidly in the current, acting like a beacon to males nearby. At the same time, environmental factors like temperature and current velocity regulate gonadal maturation. This tight coupling of internal physiology and external environment ensures that energy is not wasted. Spawning occurs only when the ocean itself can carry the next generation to safety. It is an evolutionary conversation between organism and ecosystem, repeated over millennia and refined by the physics of the sea. The camera follows one fertilized egg as it rises toward the surface. Microscopic, nearly weightless, it drifts among planktonic life. Copepods, diatoms, and larval crustaceans, all suspended in the slow ballet of the current. Within the egg, cell division begins, a choreography of development dictated by genetic instructions honed across countless generations. The embryo's heart begins to pulse faintly, exchanging oxygen through the thin membrane that separates it from the surrounding sea. As the sun rises, the water warms, accelerating metabolism. By the second day, the embryo elongates, forming the beginnings of the ribbon-like body that will one day twist through coral caves. Weeks later, the hatchling, now a leptocephalus, joins the drifting community known as the planktonic layer. Here, survival depends on invisibility. Transparency shields it from the ultraviolet radiation above and from the countless mouths below. Unlike most larvae that feed on zooplankton, the leptocephalus absorbs dissolved nutrients through its skin, a remarkably efficient adaptation for a creature that drifts for thousands of kilometers with no control over its trajectory. The open ocean, harsh and featureless to human eyes, is in fact a landscape of opportunity for those that evolve to let the water carry them. Eventually, after months or even years, the larvae metamorphose. Their bodies shorten, their organs rearrange, and their once transparent forms darken as they sink toward coastal waters. Guided by magnetic cues and perhaps chemical signals from reefs, they settle into rocky habitats, caves, crevices, and ledges, where they take on the sinuous, muscular form of the adult moray. Here they will live as ambush predators, breathing water through gill openings while watching the world through unblinking eyes. They will feed, grow, and wait, until one night, perhaps years later, the pull of the moon and the whisper of the current call them once more to the open sea. This cycle of invisibility and re-emergence defines the moray's paradoxical existence. A creature of concealment becomes, for a few brief moments each year, a symbol of openness and vulnerability. In those moments, the ocean's darkest depths become a stage for one of its most ephemeral performances, a spiral of life, light, and instinct guided by celestial timing. When the tide slackens and the moon climbs, the reef holds its breath and the morays rise again, repeating the ritual that has outlasted continents. As the camera pulls back, the reef recedes into blackness, its coral towers fading beneath the silvery glow of the moon. From above, only faint ripples disturb the surface, the final trace of a spiral dance long completed. Below, in the drifting current, millions of eggs begin their voyage into the great unknown, each a fragment of continuity between past and future. The eels have vanished, but their presence lingers in the water, written not in sight or sound, but in the invisible rhythm of the sea itself. Beneath the sunlit skin of the reef, where the world fractures into prisms of turquoise, gold, and shadow, a shape darts from its burrow. It moves like lightning, yet it is no fish. The mantis shrimp, neither mantis nor shrimp, but a member of an ancient crustacean lineage, surveys its surroundings with an alien kind of awareness. Its eyes, perched on stalks, scan the world in 12 color channels humans cannot even imagine, detecting ultraviolet hues and the secret vibrations of polarized light. Where we see only color, the mantis shrimp reads patterns of hidden meaning, territorial markers, mating cues, and the invisible shimmer of threats. This world, filtered through light we cannot perceive, is a battlefield of signals. The camera closes in on the burrow, a tunnel carved into coral rubble and sand. Within lies a pair, a male and a female mantis shrimp, side by side in the dimness. In a realm defined by aggression, this is an exception. Many mantis shrimp species form lifelong monogamous bonds, returning to the same burrow year after year. Their partnership is not born of sentiment, but strategy. Together they guard the entrance, take turns hunting, and share the duties of excavation and care. The female's eggs, when she lays them, will not be abandoned. In the harsh ecology of the reef, cooperation becomes an armor as vital as the one that coats their bodies. The mantis shrimp's armor is among nature's engineering masterpieces. Its exoskeleton combines minerals and organic fibers into a structure tougher than any other biological material ever studied. The surface, called a helicoidal composite, disperses impact through layers of twisted microfibers, allowing it to withstand forces that would shatter glass or bone. This armor exists for a reason, because beneath it lies one of the deadliest weapons in the ocean. The mantis shrimp wields two raptorial appendages, folded beneath its head like spring-loaded hammers. In an instant, these clubs can accelerate faster than a bullet, striking with the force of a rifle shot. The blow generates cavitation bubbles that collapse with bursts of light and heat, doubling the impact. Shells crack, crabs crumble, snails shatter. For most animals, such violence defines the mantis shrimp's reputation. But tonight, in the coral twilight, these weapons serve a different purpose. The male emerges first, brandishing his clubs in the open water. He flickers in color as fluorescent patches across his carapace ignite. Reds, greens, and blues invisible to most reef dwellers, but blazing with meaning to another mantis shrimp's eyes. The female responds with her own display, subtle shifts of hue and polarized flashes that change with every turn of her body. These exchanges are not random. They are courtship, communication, and contest combined. The pair will spar, not to wound, but to prove strength and precision. They strike at one another's armor, each blow a measured test of resilience. These ritual fights are more than choreography. They are negotiations of trust, proof that a partner can defend, endure, and cooperate. The fight ends in an embrace of sorts. The two coil around one another, their clubs now folded, their colors dimming to calm iridescence. They retreat into their burrow, where darkness offers both safety and purpose. The female begins to lay her eggs, hundreds of them, each one a translucent bead glowing faintly in the low light. Unlike most crustaceans, she will not release them to the currents. Instead, she gathers the clutch into a single mass, holding it carefully against her mouthparts. There, she keeps them oxygenated by fanning water over them and gently rolling them, ensuring each embryo receives air and protection from microbial growth. For days or weeks, she will neither eat nor rest, tending to her offspring with unbroken vigilance. During this time, the male becomes her sentinel. He patrols the reef outside the burrow, hunting small crabs, shrimp, and snails. His strikes are surgical, a blur followed by silence. The prey never knows what hit it. He returns with food, depositing it near the entrance before disappearing back into the maze. If a predator approaches, a wrasser, an octopus, even another mantis shrimp, he defends their territory with ferocity. The coral may be silent, but the physics of combat speak clearly. Each blow echoes through the reef like the crack of glass under pressure. This balance of ferocity and tenderness, of killing outside and nurturing within, defines the paradox of the mantis shrimp. Weeks pass. The eggs darken as the embryos grow, their eyes forming as tiny pinpricks of red. One night, under the dim shimmer of planktonic light, they hatch. The larvae that emerge are miniature predators, transparent and delicate, yet equipped with the beginnings of the weapons that define their lineage. They drift upward into the plankton, entering what scientists call the pelagic larval stage. For weeks, sometimes months, they float among the open ocean currents, leaf-like, nearly invisible, feeding on copepods and other tiny creatures. Few will survive, but those that do will settle back on reefs, digging their first burrows and restarting the cycle of pairing and defense. The larval journey, however, hides a deeper evolutionary marvel. During this stage, the young mantis shrimp undergoes one of the longest developmental transformations in the marine world. Its exoskeleton must molt repeatedly, adapting from a fragile, transparent shell into the multi-layered armor of adulthood. Each molt is a gamble. The moment the old exoskeleton splits, the soft new one leaves the animal vulnerable to predation. Timing becomes everything. Larvae that molt during darkness or under clouded conditions have a better chance of survival. It is a race against vulnerability, one repeated dozens of times before maturity. The adult's return to the reef closes the circle, yet its world is far from static. Every burrow is both fortress and frontier. The mantis shrimp maintains it with meticulous care, sealing the entrance with rubble when threatened and reopening it after danger passes. The pair's coordination extends beyond reproduction. They communicate through vibration and polarized flashes, invisible frequencies of light that pierce even the densest sediment. These optical signals, evolved for private communication, make them nearly invisible to predators and rivals. To the human eye, they are silent and still. To each other, they speak in a language written in light. As the camera pans back, the reef comes alive with parallel worlds of motion and color. Parrotfish scrape algae from coral, sea cucumbers sift through sand, and schools of anthias pulse in orange clouds above the reef crest. Yet hidden among them, under ledges and within crevices, mantis shrimp pairs stand guard, unseen architects of the reef's invisible order. They are engineers, excavators, hunters, and parents, embodying an evolutionary experiment in complexity. Their strikes are lethal, their armor indestructible, Yet their social bonds are delicate, enduring, and rare among invertebrates. In the quiet after dusk, one mantis shrimp emerges again, its eyes glinting with spectral reflections. It raises its raptorial claws, not to strike but to signal, a flash of polarization that vanishes as quickly as it came. Its partner answers from within the burrow, and the two settle back into the sand. Around them, the ocean hums with faint vibrations, the sound of countless other creatures following their own hidden patterns. In this vast and violent sea, the mantis shrimp endures not through brute strength alone, but through precision, cooperation, and timing. Traits as remarkable as the rainbow it can see, and as enduring as the vows it keeps beneath the waves. The wind cuts low across the ice, carrying the muted roar of the Southern Ocean and the distant cries of seabirds. Snow drifts swirl around jagged ridges of sea ice, sculpted by months of relentless katabatic wind. At the horizon, the light of the Antarctic summer stretches into an endless dusk, a cold radiance that seems to hang in suspension. In this frozen world of extremes, a small congregation of black and white shapes stands firm against the elements. The emperor penguins, guardians of an ancient lineage, gather on the sea ice to begin their most improbable mission, to build life where almost nothing else survives. It begins with a call. Across the wind's hollow whistle comes a sound both mechanical and mournful, a two-toned trumpet rising and falling in cadence. Each pair's song is unique, a signature pattern that can be recognized by a single mate among thousands. In the Antarctic, where vision fails in blizzards and smell is useless in the cold, sound becomes identity. Courtship here is not about bright colors or flamboyant dances. It is about precision, the fine-tuned recognition of a partner's voice amid chaos. The male and female bow toward each other, heads arched, necks stretched skyward. Their duet echoes over the frozen expanse, weaving into the collective chorus of the colony. Through this exchange, bonds are tested, reaffirmed, or sometimes broken. For in a world dictated by survival, loyalty must compete with practicality. When the ice thickens and the air grows colder, the next ritual begins, the offering of a pebble. Though the gesture seems almost sentimental, it is rooted in utility. Among species like Adelie and Gentoo penguins, where nesting takes place on rocky outcrops instead of the ice sheet, the right pebble can mean the difference between life and death for a future chick. Pebbles elevate the nest above the meltwater that forms as summer advances, keeping the eggs dry and insulated. Males scour the shoreline for smooth stones, carrying each one carefully in their beaks to present to their mate. A female may accept or reject the offering. If she accepts, the pair builds the nest together. The process is slow, methodical, and strangely tender, an architectural partnership born from evolutionary necessity. Sometimes, the competition becomes fierce. Theft is common. One bird's hard-won pebble may vanish the moment its back is turned. In this, penguin society mirrors its environment, harsh, opportunistic, and governed by the efficiency of survival. Once the nest is ready, or in the case of emperors, when the female lays her single egg directly on the ice, the cycle of endurance begins. She transfers the egg with astonishing precision, rolling it onto the male's feet while both balance awkwardly in the freezing wind. A single misstep can be fatal. If the egg touches the ice for more than a few moments, the embryo inside will freeze. The male tucks the egg beneath a fold of skin, the brood pouch, where it rests in contact with a layer of warm, featherless flesh. For the next 2 months, while the female returns to the sea to feed, the male remains behind to incubate the egg through the darkest, coldest part of the Antarctic winter. Temperatures plunge below -60 degrees Celsius, and winds howl at over 100 kilometers per hour. The males huddle together, rotating in an unspoken rhythm so that no bird remains at the edge of the circle for too long. This rotation is an extraordinary act of cooperation among competitors. Each male preserves both his own life and the life of another's future chick, a social adaptation forged by the brutal arithmetic of their world. When the first light returns to the Antarctic sky, the females come back, fat with food from the ocean. The reunion is dramatic, guided once again by sound. Among thousands of near-identical birds, Each female locates her mate by call alone, their voices cutting through the chorus of the colony. If her partner has succeeded, she will find him standing thin, stooped, and hollow-eyed, the chick newly hatched beneath his belly. The female takes over feeding duties, regurgitating partially digested krill and fish for the chick. The male, having endured months without food, finally returns to the sea. A journey that can stretch dozens of kilometers across the ice to reach open water. For all their devotion, penguin relationships exist within the constraints of ecological necessity. Many pairs reunite year after year, but not all. Mortality at sea is high, and the Southern Ocean is vast. When one partner fails to return, the survivor eventually finds another mate. Fidelity in penguins, like so many traits in the natural world, is practical rather than absolute. Evolution rewards adaptability, not sentiment. Still, the recognition between returning pairs is unmistakable, an acknowledgement of shared endurance rather than romance. The chicks that survive the first weeks soon join the creche, a group of young penguins that huddle together for warmth and protection while their parents forage. This behavior, common among colonial birds, reduces predation and conserves energy. The adults take turns returning from the sea to feed them, navigating by memory and geomagnetic cues. Yet their success depends entirely on one fragile link: the productivity of the Southern Ocean's krill. These tiny crustaceans, no larger than a human fingernail, form the base of the Antarctic food web. When sea ice forms in winter, algae grow beneath it, feeding vast swarms of krill. When the ice melts in summer, the krill feed the penguins, whales, seals, and countless other species. A warm year with less ice means less krill and fewer penguin chicks. This dependence ties penguin love stories directly to climate and chemistry. Changes in ocean temperature and ice cover ripple through their world like invisible tides, altering not only where they feed, but whether their young survive. Satellite data has revealed shifts in penguin colonies as some move farther south, chasing colder conditions. Others vanish entirely, erased from coastlines that once teemed with life. In this sense, every pebble offered, every call exchanged, every huddled chick is part of a larger system, one that balances biological devotion against planetary change. As the Antarctic sun arcs low across the sky, the colony begins to thin. The young, now sleek and feathered, test the edge of the sea for the first time. They hesitate only a moment before plunging in, their movements clumsy but instinctive. Beneath the ice, a new world opens, vast blue corridors of water alive with krill, silverfish, and shimmering light. For the young penguin, this first dive is both freedom and farewell. It will spend the next years wandering the open ocean, guided by currents and stars, before returning, if it survives, to the same stretch of ice or rock where its parents once stood. The camera pulls back, revealing the colony as a mosaic of black dots against a white continent, bordered by the blue of the Southern Ocean. Each life here is fragile, yet part of something enduring, a cycle of return written across generations. Pebbles and promises, songs and survival, all bound by an ocean that gives and takes in equal measure. In this world of ice and devotion, the true miracle of the penguin is not its endurance alone, but its ability to build love, loyalty, and life out of a landscape made of nothing but cold and light. In the still, misty calm of a Pacific kelp forest, dawn breaks softly. Golden light filters through the canopy of giant kelp, its ribbons swaying in slow motion with the swell. Beneath this green cathedral, a sea otter floats on her back, her fur beaded with silver droplets that never soak through. She is a creature both delicate and defiant, one of the few mammals that has returned to the sea without surrendering to it. Every hair on her body, and there are nearly 1 million per square inch, traps air, turning her coat into living insulation. Without blubber, she survives the ocean's chill by wearing the most advanced biological wetsuit on Earth. The camera drifts closer, revealing a tender tableau. The otter rests atop the rolling surface of the bay, a bundle of kelp wrapped loosely around her like an anchor line to keep her from drifting away. Floating beside her, a smaller otter pup clings to her belly, squeaking softly. The pair drifts in a raft, a gathering of otters bound by rest and routine. Some float alone, others lie paw in paw, the iconic gesture that keeps them from separating as currents shift. These rafts are more than simple gatherings. They are social fortresses, a strategy evolved from a life spent entirely at sea. For otters, companionship is not luxury, but survival. The mother's grooming begins at sunrise. With slow, rhythmic precision, she rubs and rolls her pup in the water, teaching it the ritual that will one day save its life. Sea otters cannot afford to let their fur lose its air seal. Even a small patch of matting can cause heat loss that leads to hypothermia. The lesson is one of biology and behavior intertwined. Every grooming session is a transfer of instinct, a maternal choreography passed down for millions of years. The pup, still coated in its dense baby fur, cannot yet dive. This neonatal coat is so buoyant that it turns the pup into a floating cork. Until the fur is shed, the mother must dive alone, returning every few minutes to feed her helpless offspring. Below the surface, her world transforms into a three-dimensional puzzle of stone, shell, and current. She propels herself with powerful hind flippers, her front paws tucked close to her chest like a diver's. In the murky shallows, she searches by touch, probing crevices and turning over rocks to reveal abalone, urchins, and crabs. Her whiskers, dense with nerve endings, detect the faintest vibrations of prey trying to escape. When she finds an urchin, she doesn't devour it immediately. Instead, she retrieves a flat rock and carries both to the surface. Balanced on her chest, the stone becomes an anvil, and with deft, rapid strikes of her forepaws, she cracks open the spiny armor. The air fills with the soft tapping of shell against stone, one of the few examples of tool use in the marine world. Back at the surface, she shares small pieces with her pup, letting it watch and mimic the motions. These lessons, how to dive, how to handle tools, how to open shells, form the foundation of the pup's survival. Otter mothers invest more energy in a single offspring than almost any marine mammal of their size. The metabolic cost is staggering. An adult sea otter burns calories at a rate 3 times higher than a terrestrial mammal of equivalent mass, needing to consume up to a quarter of its body weight in food each day just to maintain its internal temperature. This relentless demand for energy drives nearly every behavior in its life, shaping its hunting patterns, social interactions, and even its reproductive strategy. That energy economy also defines their mating rituals. When a female comes into estrus, males detect her through scent, oils left on the water surface or secreted from specialized glands. Courtship is brief and physical, often taking place underwater. Males grasp the female by the scruff of the neck with their teeth, a grip that sometimes leaves visible scars. The encounter is rough, but the purpose is clear. In a world without solid ground or shelter, even reproduction must adapt to constant motion. After mating, the male may follow her for several days, guarding her from rivals and occasionally joining her raft. Yet once conception occurs, she will continue the journey alone. Pregnancy in sea otters carries its own evolutionary twist. The species exhibits delayed implantation, a mechanism allowing the fertilized egg to remain dormant for weeks or months before developing. This timing ensures that birth coincides with optimal conditions for survival, when food is plentiful and the mother is strong. When the pup arrives, it is born fully furred, with eyes open, buoyant from the moment it meets the sea. The mother's first task is to clean and fluff the newborn's fur, trapping air between every strand to make sure it floats. In this act of care, physiology and nurture converge. Love is insulation, survival disguised as tenderness. The ocean around them is not just home, but hazard. Bald eagles, sharks, and orcas all pose threats, but the most persistent challenge is hunger itself. The mother must dive up to 60 times a day, each dive lasting less than 2 minutes, to gather enough food for both herself and her pup. Sometimes she hunts sea urchins, helping keep kelp forests healthy by controlling the urchin population. Without otters, urchins would devour the kelp roots, collapsing entire ecosystems. In this sense, every meal the otter eats reverberates through the structure of the ocean, a keystone behavior shaping life for hundreds of species. When exhaustion sets in, the pair drifts again. The pup rests belly up atop its mother, its fur glistening like spun gold. The kelp around them anchors them gently against the tide, preventing them from drifting out to sea. Other otters in the raft groom, feed, or sleep, each one part of a living mosaic of cooperation and independence. Beneath them, the kelp sways like a slow green tide, converting sunlight into the oxygen that sustains the sea. Fish weave between its blades, sea stars cling to its stems, and crustaceans hide in its shadows. Above this entire microcosm drifts the otter, small, warm, endlessly busy, an engineer of ecosystems wrapped in fur. By evening, the fog returns, cloaking the bay in muted silver. The otter mother cradles her pup, grooming it one last time before sleep. Their paws, clasped together, rest on the rippling surface like petals on a pond. The raft has drifted closer now, dozens of otters holding paws in the half-light, a floating constellation of resilience. The rhythmic sound of their breathing mingles with the hush of the sea, a fragile harmony sustained by constant work, constant care. Every breath, every dive, every stroke of the paw carries the same purpose: to keep warm, to stay together, to endure. In a world where survival depends on motion, the sea otter's greatest strength is the stillness it finds in connection. When morning returns and the light once again pierces the fog, the otters will drift apart to hunt. But for now, they rest, tethered by the simplest gesture of all, two paws joined against the tide. The Arctic dawn begins not with light, but with sound. Beneath the fractured ice, in a world suspended between air and water, a low, resonant tone ripples through the gloom. It is deep and rhythmic, more vibration than melody. Yet in this frozen expanse it carries meaning. The song comes from a walrus, a male advertising his strength through music. He floats just below the surface, head tilted back, chest cavity expanding as he channels air through specialized throat pouches that function like built-in resonating chambers. From his mouth, a series of sharp knocks and long metallic trills escape, echoing through the water like the tolling of submerged bells. To human ears, the sound is almost mechanical. To other walruses, it is a declaration of dominance, a biological advertisement encoded in vibration. These underwater serenades are the centerpiece of walrus courtship, and they unfold beneath the drifting ice floes of the high Arctic, where visibility is often less than a few meters. In this dim realm, sound replaces sight. The sea amplifies every note, carrying it for kilometers across the shallows of the continental shelf. The males, massive scarred veterans of the ice, compete not through constant physical battle, but through these haunting vocal performances. Each individual's song is unique, a combination of bell tones, clicks, and low pulses produced by the complex interplay of the larynx and inflatable air sacs near the neck. These structures, absent in most pinnipeds, allow the walrus to sustain calls for hours without surfacing. Females, drawn by the resonance, approach and listen, judging quality, stamina, and rhythm, evolutionary indicators of health and strength. When sight finally does play a role, it is in the flashes of ivory that mark a rival's proximity. The male's tusks, elongated upper canines that can exceed 1 meter in length, are far more than weapons. They are social emblems, visual hieroglyphs of status and age. Older males bear tusks etched with lines and chips, each scar a record of past contests. In close quarters, the tusks serve to push, hook, or brace rather than stab. Even when physical clashes occur, bloodshed is rare. These duels are often symbolic, power measured in the ability to intimidate rather than injure. The walrus, for all its bulk, is a remarkably deliberate creature, its social order maintained by sound, display, and ritual more than by brute violence. As the ice begins to break apart under the spring sun, the walruses haul themselves onto floes and coastal rocks. The scene is chaotic, loud, and visceral. Hundreds of bodies pressed together, slick with meltwater and steam. The air vibrates with grunts and bellows as males jostle for position near the edges where females congregate. The rut lasts only a few weeks, but its intensity transforms the normally sluggish herds into arenas of constant negotiation. Dominant bulls position themselves in the water, guarding small clusters of females. Between vocal displays, they dive for clams and other benthic prey, consuming up to 6,000 in a single session. Feeding is both sustenance and spectacle. By creating visible plumes of sediment while foraging, males demonstrate their vigor to watching females, proof of strength and stamina in a landscape that demands both. Beneath the ice, the feeding grounds tell another story. The walrus is an ecosystem engineer. Using its sensitive whiskers, called vibrissae, it sweeps across the seafloor, detecting the faint electromagnetic fields and subtle textures of buried clams and snails. Once located, the walrus does not use its tusks to dig, but instead creates a vacuum with its mouth, sucking the soft-bodied prey from their shells with astonishing precision. In doing so, it churns and aerates the sediment, redistributing nutrients and shaping the benthic community. Every meal leaves an imprint, a pockmark on the seafloor that serves as a miniature habitat for smaller invertebrates. The walrus's appetite, immense as it is, maintains the balance of Arctic marine ecosystems. But life on the ice is dictated by motion. As summer advances and the flows retreat northward, the walrus herds must follow, their migrations tracing the receding edge of the pack. For mothers and calves, this journey is perilous. Calves are born on drifting ice platforms, temporary nurseries that can melt, fracture, or drift far from feeding areas. The newborns, already weighing over 60 kilograms, are capable swimmers within hours, but remain dependent on their mothers for warmth, milk, and protection. The bond between them is profound. A mother walrus produces milk rich in fat, up to 30%, allowing her calf to double its weight in a matter of weeks. The calf rides on her back or nestles against her flank, surfacing in perfect synchrony as she guides it through the shifting maze of ice. Predators shadow the herd's movements. Polar bears wait at floe edges, ambushing stragglers, while orcas patrol the open leads between ice fields. Against such threats, the walrus's greatest defense is not its tusks, but its numbers. When danger appears, the adults encircle the calves, forming a living barrier of tusks and hides. In the water, mothers use their tusks as grappling hooks, hoisting themselves and their calves onto the ice in seconds. The coordination is striking, a communal defense honed by millennia of predation. Yet even this system has limits. As sea ice diminishes each year, more walruses are forced to congregate on land in massive haulouts, where overcrowding and stampedes can kill hundreds. The tragedy of climate compression turns once rare events into seasonal crises. From the air, a haulout looks like a single living organism. Tens of thousands of brown bodies packed together, undulating in waves of motion. The smell of salt, musk, and decay hangs heavy over the beach. Calves bawl for mothers lost in the crush, and gulls wheel above, scavenging the dead. For the survivors, rest is short-lived. The beach offers warmth but little safety. Exhausted, the walruses must return to the water to feed, repeating the long commute between shore and feeding grounds. These cycles of migration, once synchronized with the rhythm of ice, now strain against a rapidly changing world. Yet amid the chaos, life persists. The male's songs still echo under the thinning ice, a reminder that the Arctic's soundtrack is not silence, but adaptation. Each pulse, trill, and bell tone is a continuation of lineage, an acoustic tapestry woven through evolution. Scientists have found that individual walrus songs can last for more than half an hour and may even evolve from year to year, reflecting the innovation of performers who improvise to stand out. In the cold expanse where visual display fails, sound becomes culture, and each generation of singers adds new layers to the tradition. As the season wanes, the ice turns silver again, its edges scalloped by meltwater. The walrus herds drift toward the pole, their forms fading into the mist. The sea closes behind them, concealing their songs until the next cycle returns. Beneath the surface, the echoes linger, deep, resonant, and haunting. The Arctic, so often imagined as still and silent, is in truth a symphony of endurance. And at its center, the walrus sings, a siren of the ice whose voice carries not for pleasure or art, but for survival itself. Beneath the mirrored surface of a tropical bay, sunlight scatters into gold ribbons that waver across the sand. The water is shallow, warm and seemingly empty, yet every ripple hides motion. Faint puffs of sediment bloom, then vanish again, betraying the invisible residents of this calm world. Beneath the sand lies a stingray, its flat body indistinguishable from the seabed, save for the gentle rise and fall of its spiracles. Small breathing vents just behind the eyes. Its camouflage is perfect. Even the shadow it casts is broken by sunlight's dapple, blending predator and planet into one seamless image. But today, this stillness is not for hunting. It is for love. The female stingray glides forward, tracing slow, elegant loops over the sand. With each stroke of her wide pectoral fins, she leaves a subtle trail, a chemical and tactile signature embedded in the water and the silt. To other fish, it is invisible. To a male stingray, it is a message. He can detect her passage through the faintest gradients of scent and vibration, following her wake with precision. Stingrays possess an acute sensory system called the ampullae of Lorenzini, electroreceptive pores that detect the weak electric fields generated by living tissue. Through these invisible signals, males track females not by sight, but by electricity itself. It is a kind of sixth sense, tuned to the rhythms of life, guiding them to mates even in murky or dark waters. When the male finds her, the calm transforms into a choreography of pursuit. Courtship among stingrays is physical, sometimes rough, driven by the mechanics of their anatomy. The male swims closely behind the female, mirroring her movements as she glides above the sand. When he senses her readiness, he darts forward, grasping the leading edge of her disc with his mouth. His teeth, small and blunt, are not weapons but anchors, a way to hold her steady in the currents while he aligns his body beneath hers. The bite often leaves small marks along her fins, scars that testify to generations of this ritual. It is an awkward dance in the fluid world, a blend of precision and pressure, sustained only long enough for their bodies to align. Fertilization in stingrays is internal, an evolutionary leap beyond the external spawning of most fish. The male transfers sperm through a pair of specialized appendages called claspers, modified pelvic fins that function like mechanical syringes. For the female, the process is more than simple fertilization. It triggers a cascade of physiological responses. Her eggs are retained within her body, where they develop into embryos, nourished first by yolk and later by a nutrient-rich uterine fluid, a form of primitive milk secreted from the lining of the womb. This unique reproductive strategy, known as aplacental viviparity, bridges the evolutionary gap between egg-laying fish and live-bearing mammals. The result? Each new generation of stingrays is born alive, fully formed, and ready to swim from the moment of birth. The gestation period varies between species, but can last several months. During this time, the female's shape changes subtly, a slight bulge along her back, visible only when she rises from the sand to move. She continues her daily life much as before, feeding on clams, worms, and crustaceans buried in the sediment. Her feeding technique mirrors her own camouflage, stealthy and deliberate. By undulating her fins, she creates suction currents that expose buried prey. Then, using her mouth on the underside of her body, she vacuums the meal from the sand, crushing shells with plates of flat, powerful teeth. Her hunting not only sustains her, but aerates the sediment, releasing nutrients that feed microscopic organisms and ultimately the entire food web. In this way, the stingray's daily life shapes the ecology of the bay itself. When the time comes to give birth, she seeks the shallows, the nursery bays. These sheltered areas, often fringed with mangroves or coral rubble, provide safety and warmth for newborn rays. Shallow water offers multiple advantages. It limits the approach of large predators such as sharks, increases sunlight for thermoregulation, and allows the pups to feed in calmer, nutrient-rich zones. The female's migration into these nurseries is guided by instinct as old as her lineage, ensuring her young begin life in the most forgiving corner of an unforgiving sea. Birth in stingrays is a quiet event, unseen and unheralded. The female's body flexes gently, releasing a single pup, or sometimes several, that unfurl like wet silk. Each pup is a miniature replica of the adult, a perfect little pancake, with eyes bright and fins already strong. They emerge curled, but within moments their wings spread, and they begin to move in the rhythmic, fluid motions that define their kind. There is no parental care beyond this moment. The mother drifts away, her role complete, and the young must face the world alone. They instinctively bury themselves in the sand, breathing through their spiracles as their mother once did, already masters of invisibility. For the pups, survival depends on mastering two arts, concealment and perception. Their flat bodies and sandy coloring serve as camouflage, but hiding alone is not enough. They must learn to read the world through subtle signals, the same electrical whispers their parents used to find prey and mates. Even at birth, the ampullae of Lorenzini are fully functional, allowing them to detect the faint heartbeats of crustaceans buried beneath the seabed. This sensitivity to electric fields gives them an invisible advantage, turning the flat emptiness of the seafloor into a landscape of constant information. As they grow, the pups become important players in the ecological dynamics of the nursery. Their foraging disturbs sediment layers, cycling nutrients upward and sustaining microbial life. In turn, small predators like groupers and snappers patrol the edges of these nurseries, picking off the weak or unwary. The shallow warmth that nurtures life also concentrates danger, a paradox that defines almost every nursery in the sea. Yet through sheer numbers and stealth, enough survive to replenish the population. Beyond their delicate grace, stingrays carry evolutionary weight. They are cousins of sharks, sharing a lineage that stretches back over 400 million years. Their flattened shape is not a passive adaptation, but a masterpiece of hydrodynamic engineering, a design evolved for both ambush and flight. Muscles within their broad fins ripple in coordinated waves, allowing them to lift from the sand like wings catching an updraft. When startled, they vanish in a burst of speed, leaving only a cloud of suspended grains behind. In deeper waters, larger stingrays take to the open sea, migrating along coastlines or across basins. Some travel hundreds of kilometers between feeding grounds and breeding sites, guided by magnetic fields that act like an internal compass. Others remain within the same bay year-round, tied to the delicate balance of its temperature and tides. These behaviors form part of a larger story, one of adaptation to a warming world. As climate change alters coastal ecosystems, nursery bays heat faster and retain less oxygen, reshaping the very conditions stingrays depend upon. Their survival, once secured by evolution, now hinges on how well they can adjust to the accelerating changes of their environment. Back in the shallows, the tide begins to turn. The young rays lift from their sandy beds, gliding just above the bottom, their movements synchronized with the rhythm of the water. The bay shimmers with suspended light, and for a moment the viewer sees not predators or prey, but a lineage stretching unbroken from prehistoric seas to modern coasts. Hearts beating beneath the sand, hidden yet eternal. The mother, long gone to deeper waters, leaves behind not care but continuity. Her offspring, silent and unseen, inherit the ocean in miniature, a world of danger, beauty and endless motion. Beneath the pale glow of a full moon, the reef transforms into a landscape of quiet anticipation. The tide has reached its highest point, and the water is unnaturally still, a mirror stretching toward the horizon. Below, life waits in collective rhythm. Coral polyps retract. Fish hover motionless in the crevices. And scattered across the seabed, hundreds of starfish begin to stir, slow, deliberate, and strangely synchronized. Each one seems to respond to something unseen: the pull of the moon, the pressure of the tide, and the faint chemical cues released by their neighbors. It is a biological clockwork older than continents, a choreography of reproduction written in light and tide. The first signal comes in the form of pheromones, molecular whispers that drift through the water. One starfish releases them, and others follow, their coordination spreading outward like a chemical wave. To human eyes, the scene appears calm. To the starfish, it is a symphony of stimuli. These echinoderms, though brainless, are far from simple. Distributed across their 5 arms, or sometimes more, are thousands of sensory cells capable of detecting light, movement, and dissolved substances. Each arm acts as both scout and limb, feeding data into a decentralized nervous network. When the cues align, lunar phase, temperature, tidal current, and chemical signature, the signal to spawn becomes irresistible. Then, as though responding to an unseen conductor, the starfish lift their arms slightly and begin to release clouds of gametes. Fine plumes of milky sperm and orange-tinted eggs rise into the moonlit water, drifting upward in vast numbers. The process is both delicate and monumental, a slow-motion storm that transforms the reef into a living nebula. Each starfish releases millions of gametes, but only synchrony makes survival possible. If they were to spawn alone, their reproductive cells would disperse into the ocean and vanish. By releasing them together, the population amplifies its odds exponentially, overwhelming the dilution of the sea through sheer quantity. This strategy, called broadcast spawning, is the ocean's great gamble, the surrender of control in exchange for abundance. Evolution has refined it into a system of precision timing. The moon provides the metronome, regulating tidal cycles and the subtle gravitational forces that stir ocean currents. Even slight deviations, a cloudy night, a shift in water temperature, can disrupt the synchronization. For some species of starfish, spawning events occur only once a year, triggered within minutes of the full moon's zenith. The lunar rhythm ensures that the currents will carry fertilized eggs away from predators and into open water, where the next generation can begin its improbable journey. Fertilization happens in the water column, where sperm and eggs collide amid drifting plankton. The odds of success are infinitesimal, yet billions of encounters occur across a single reef. The fertilized eggs soon divide, forming embryos that hatch into free-swimming larvae known as bipinnaria. These creatures are so different from their parents that for centuries, scientists failed to recognize them as the same species. Where adult starfish crawl across the seafloor on hydraulic limbs, their larvae are translucent and delicate, equipped with cilia that beat in coordinated waves to keep them adrift. They feed on microscopic algae, growing and transforming in the pelagic realm, a world far removed from the reef below. The camera follows one larva as it drifts among the plankton. At this stage, it is no larger than a grain of sand, yet it is a masterpiece of efficiency. Bands of cilia encircle its body, forming currents that both propel and feed it. Inside, cells begin to specialize. Some form the beginnings of the digestive system, others prepare for a metamorphosis still weeks away. These larvae are planktotrophic, meaning they rely on planktonic food sources to survive, but their flexibility is remarkable. When food is scarce, they can delay metamorphosis, remaining in the larval state for months until conditions improve. In this suspended existence, the starfish embryo embodies evolution's patience, a drifting seed awaiting its chance to root. When the time finally comes, chemical cues again dictate fate. The larvae detect signals from the sea floor, the scent of coralline algae, bacterial biofilms, or even the presence of adult starfish. These cues indicate that the substrate is suitable for settlement. The larva sinks, attaches itself temporarily, and undergoes a complete transformation. Its bilateral body, a relic of its early mobility, dissolves into the pentaradial symmetry of the adult form. The change is total. New tissues, organs, and appendages emerge as the larval body is reabsorbed. This metamorphosis is one of the most extreme in the animal kingdom, rivaling that of butterflies, yet it happens unseen, beneath layers of silt and coral shadow. The juvenile that emerges bears the unmistakable shape of a star. Tiny tube feet extend from its underside, powered by a hydraulic vascular system that operates without blood. Instead, seawater circulates through a network of canals, creating pressure that allows the animal to walk, grip, and even pry open shells. Its mouth faces downward, perfectly adapted for scavenging and predation on bivalves and detritus. Over time, it will grow by adding calcium carbonate to its endoskeleton, a slow accretion of strength that also doubles as armor. In this new stage of life, mobility and resilience replace fragility. The ecological role of the starfish, often underestimated, is profound. As predators, they regulate populations of mussels, clams, and coral polyps. preventing any one species from monopolizing space. In doing so, they maintain biodiversity across the reef. Some species, like the crown-of-thorns starfish, wield this power destructively, consuming coral at a pace that can devastate entire ecosystems. Yet even their excess serves a role, resetting ecological succession and shaping the evolution of coral defenses. The starfish, in its quiet, deliberate movements, is both creator and destroyer, a sculptor of balance in the marine world. At night, the same lunar light that once triggered their spawning returns to illuminate the next generation. On the seafloor, the young starfish crawl slowly across the sand, their bodies covered in tiny spines that catch the silver glow. Around them, the reef hums with nocturnal life, plankton rising from the depths, small fish darting in and out of coral crevices, crabs patrolling for scraps. Above, the moon hangs low, its reflection fractured by ripples and waves. It is the same signal that once called their parents to release clouds of life into the current, the same rhythm that will one day call them too. For all their stillness, starfish embody motion, not in speed but in cycles. They turn tides into birth, moonlight into timing, and patience into survival. Their existence is a testament to the ocean's paradox: fragility sustained by abundance, order sustained by chaos. When the next lunar cycle arrives, and the tides again rise higher than memory, the reef will awaken once more to the silent pulse of reproduction. Clouds will bloom beneath the moon, drifting upward like slow fireworks in the sea. And somewhere within those invisible currents, the story will begin again. A constellation reborn not in the sky, but in the water.